Welcome to another episode of SapioStick Bedtime Stories. I'm glad you're here. Tonight, wherever you are, whether you're getting ready for sleep, winding down after a long day, or simply looking for a quiet moment, you've found the right place. So dim the lights, get comfortable, take a slow, deep breath, and let your imagination take over. This is SapioStick Bedtime Stories. There is a shop that only appears to people who are suffering. No sign, no address. You can't search for it. You find it the way you find rock bottom. By accident and all at once. And the man in this story found it on the worst night of his life. Before we go inside, I want you to hold one question in your mind. Don't answer it yet. Just carry it with you. If you could delete one memory, just one, would you do it? Remember your answer. It's going to matter at the end. His name was Elias, and on the night the shop appeared, he had been walking for hours in the rain, because his apartment was full of her things, and he couldn't breathe in there anymore. His wife had died 8 months earlier, and grief, as Elias learned, is not a wave. It's a tide. It goes out just long enough to let you think you're standing on solid ground, and then it comes back. That's when he saw the light. A small shop wedged between two buildings he'd walked past 1,000 times. He was certain it had never been there before. Inside, an old shopkeeper stood behind a counter of small glass vials. Each one glowed faintly, like a firefly trapped in amber. "I know why you're here. Everyone who finds this door is carrying something too heavy to keep carrying." "What do you sell?" Elias asked. "Nothing. I take one memory, any memory. You walk out lighter. The only price is the memory itself." Elias laughed, the hollow laugh of a man with nothing left to lose. And then he said the words, "Take the night she died." The shopkeeper nodded, held up an empty vial, and asked him to close his eyes. When Elias opened them, the vial was glowing, and for the first time in 8 months, the weight in his chest was gone. Now, here's where the story gets uncomfortable, because Elias felt better, genuinely better. He slept through the night. He ate real meals. He smiled at strangers. But grief is not a single memory. It's a network. And the brain, your brain, my brain, Elias's brain, is ruthless at finding connections. A song in a grocery store reminded him of the hospital waiting room. Gone. Second visit. The smell of jasmine reminded him of the funeral. Gone. Third visit. Her sister's voice on the phone reminded him of the eulogy. He stopped taking the calls. Then he had the memory of the calls removed too. And each time the shopkeeper asked the same quiet question. The question I now ask you. Are you removing the pain, or are you removing her? Elias always answered the same way. There's a difference. And the old man would nod and say nothing, and hold up another vial. Pause the story for 1 second. Be honest with yourself. The memory you thought of at the beginning, the one you'd delete. How many other memories is it attached to? How deep do the roots go? Keep listening, because Elias is about to find out. A year passed. Elias was, by every outside measure, fine. Calm, functional, pleasant. But something strange started happening. He found a woman's handwriting in the margins of his books and felt nothing. He found a wedding ring in a drawer and assumed it belonged to someone else. Friends would say, "She would have loved this," and he would smile politely, the way you smile at a story about a stranger. He wasn't in pain anymore. He also wasn't anything anymore. Because here's what Elias didn't understand, what most of us don't understand. Pain and meaning are stored in the same place. You cannot cut one out without nicking the other. Every memory he removed took a little of the love with it, because the pain was never separate from the love. The pain was the proof of it. One night, he found a photograph that had slipped behind a dresser. A woman on a beach, laughing, squinting into the sun, holding her hand out toward the camera, toward him. He stared at her face for a long time. He did not know who she was, but his hands were shaking. His eyes were burning. His body remembered what his mind had sold. And that is the loneliest feeling a human being can have. Grieving someone you can no longer name. Elias ran through the rain back to the alley, and the shop was there, because of course it was. It appears to people who are suffering. He slammed the photograph on the counter. "Who is she? Give them back. All of them. I'll pay anything." The shopkeeper looked at him with an expression Elias couldn't read. Not surprise, not pity, recognition. "You always come back. This is the part you never believe. So look." He turned the wall of vials toward the light, hundreds of them, and Elias saw that every single vial on that wall had the same name written on the label, in the same handwriting. His. The entire shop, every glowing vial, floor to ceiling, was him. years of him. He hadn't visited this shop a handful of times. He had been coming here his whole life, deleting the divorce, deleting his father, deleting failures, humiliations, heartbreaks. And every time the emptiness grew, and every time he came back to delete the awareness of the emptiness too. You asked me once whether there's a difference between removing the pain and removing her. He slid the photograph back across the counter. You are the difference, or what's left of it. Elias asked the only question that mattered. Can you put them back? And the shopkeeper said the truest line in this entire story. I can, but understand what you're asking for. The night she died comes back with the wedding day. The hospital comes back with the beach. I don't sell memories, Elias. I never did. I sell halves of people. You're asking to be whole again. And whole means all of it. Elias looked at the woman in the photograph. A stranger, his hands still shook for. All of it, he said. The story doesn't tell us what the flood felt like when it came back. It only tells us that Elias walked out of that shop crying in the rain, sobbing, broken, gutted, and smiling, because he knew her name again. And the shop behind him flickered out like a candle, because the shop only appears to people who are suffering. And for the first time in his life, Elias wasn't trying to escape his suffering. He was carrying it, on purpose, because of what it was attached to. So, back to the question from the beginning. The memory you would delete. Here's what this story wants you to sit with tonight. Your worst memories are not scars on the building. They are load-bearing walls. Tear them out, and things you love start collapsing in rooms you didn't know were connected. The pain of losing someone is the receipt for having loved them. The sting of failure is the evidence that you tried. You don't get to keep the meaning and delete the cost. They were never two things. So tonight, as you're falling asleep, don't ask yourself which memory you would erase. Ask yourself a better question. Which pain are you still carrying because deep down you know it's holding something up? Sleep on that one. If this story stayed with you, that's the whole point of this channel. Stories that follow you to bed. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And tell me in the comments, honestly, would you have walked into the shop? Thank you for listening.